or there is a system behind. There is a system behind. So similarly, this entire material creation, this cosmic manifestation, is within the jurisdiction, within the control of the Supreme Controller, the Supreme Absolute Truth. And when the Supreme Absolute Truth is revealing that He is the cause of all causes and He is the Supreme Controller of everything which is in this manifestation. We will take the 13th and the 14th verse. Very important. This 13th and the 14th verse is the extreme mid of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses and 350 and 351 are the middle two verses. And those verses are 9.13 and 9.14. And we will discuss these two verses. This is the epicenter of entire Bhagavad Gita. So we'll begin with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pad Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Dhamma Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshitarine. Hare Krishna. Go and call Shreya. She can cover again. So in this 9th chapter, we've seen that Krishna begins to speak about this knowledge, which is the most confidential knowledge. Krishna is revealing about himself. Please come. So please remove these, let them be seated. And Krishna says that there is a very special qualification. Please remove the books from there and please remove that device. That the qualification required for receiving this knowledge is non-enviousness. Those who are free from envy. That means in whose heart there is love. Love for the Supreme Lord and love for all His created beings. And second important aspect he spoke is in the 3rd verse when he says that those who are faithless, they also cannot receive this knowledge. So we discussed that. So the first 3 verses speaks about this Raj Vidya. this king of knowledge. So Krishna gives this knowledge. He gives the importance of this knowledge. And what is that knowledge? That Krishna's inconceivable relationship with this material creation. That how everything which is manifested in this cosmic manifestation is resting upon it. He is the source, he is the foundation, he is the origin. Everything else is dependent upon him, although he does not depend on anyone else. So that is inconceivable. And finally, in the 10th verse, he said that this material cosmic manifestation is acting directly under my superintendence. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sahajaraja. But even after receiving this knowledge, or even after hearing this fact, there are different kinds of aspirers. There are different kinds of persons. So first he speaks about those who do not accept the sovereignty and the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. In the 11th verse, he spoke about them, that these people are grossly foolish, and what they do, they deride Krishna. They don't accept his authority, but instead they deride Krishna. Avajananti mamura manushim tanumashita. Why? Because they are not convinced, or they are not having this sufficient knowledge that param bhava majan, the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord, they do not. So that transcendental knowledge, which the people in the world do not know, Krishna is revealing in this section of the movie. And then he says, for such aspirants, even if they are devotees, he gives the next verse, that moga asha, moga karmana, moga jnana vichetasa. That was the last verse we discussed, and that was 9.12. So among the various aspirants, those who are aspiring to go to the spiritual world, those who are taking the path of devotion, but still their knowledge is not complete. Their conviction is not deep. So they will not achieve the fruit, the final fruit. What is the fruit of returning back to the spiritual life? It is moksha. So their aspirations will be baffled. And moga karmano, those who are fruity workers, those who are working to enjoy the results of their actions. Like we say, anyone passes away in the Hindu community. So what is the term used for the person who has passed away? Swargiya. But it is not so cheap. To be Swargiya, anyone who is deceased cannot be Swargiya. If that was the case, then Swarg will be more populated than the planet Earth. So, their aspirations, those who want to go to the heavenly planets. Why they want to go to the heavenly planets? Because there is profuse possibility of sense enjoyment. They can enjoy their senses millions of times more than what they can they will also be baffled. They will be frustrated. They will not receive it. Why? Because they do not know the nature of the Supreme Lord. And even those who are aspiring for liberation. Moga jnana. But neither agnostics nor atheistics, but they are admirers. Those who accept the supremacy of the Supreme. Centermost verses of Bhagavad Gita were so we'll take the 13th verse. Mahatmanastu mam partha देवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिता भजन्ति अनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययाम् महात्मानास्तु मां पार्थ देवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिता भजन्ति अनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययाम् महात्मानास्तु मां पार्थ देवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिता भजन्ति अनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययाम्. You recite. You recite, sorry. You have the mic. Who is it? महात्मानास्तु मां पार्थ महात्मानास्तु मां पार्थ
दैवं प्रकृतिमाश्रिता
देवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिता
भजन्ति अनन्यमानसो
ज्ञात्वा
बुद्धिम् अभयम्
ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययाम्. Yes. Okay. Don't keep it on the floor. Don't keep the book on the floor. This is Krishna in the form of book.
महात्मानास्तु मां पार्थ
महात्मानास्तु मां पार्थ
प्रकृतिमाश्रिता
देवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिता भजन्ति अनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययम्. Good at it. Very good. You should have the spirit to recite. Okay. So what Krishna is speaking about, those who are divine. Before, there are two classes of men. Since the human race has come into existence, there always has been two classes of men and women also. One is the divine and the other is the demon. What we say? Satan and evil. So Satan and evil are the same. They are the same. The divine and the demonic. Devi and Asuri. What is the difference between the two? Anyone? What is the difference between divine and demoniac? What qualifies one to become divine? And what disqualifies one to become demoniac? Yes? Attempt? Simple. It is simple. Okay. Sorry? What essentially that nature is? That what that makes one?
Devotion.
Okay, what you are saying is correct, but still a little bit further. Let's just see what makes a person a citizen and what makes him a criminal. What is the difference? A criminal is punished by the government. And the same government, whoever is a citizen, the government serves. Isn't it? It provides health facilities, it provides education, it provides, schooling, everything. What is the difference between a citizen and what is the difference between a criminal?
They are following the law.
Very good. Yes, ma'am has put the hammer on the head of the nail. One who is following the rules and regulations given by the government. So they are called law-abiding. If one is law-abiding, the law protects them. And if one is law-breaking, then the law breaks them. So similarly, those who accept the authority of the Supreme Lord, they are divine. And those who deny the authority of the Supreme Lord, They are same. So Krishna is speaking about those who are divine. And he terms the divine here as Mahatmas. Mahatmas, and what is their uniqueness? Krishna will reveal. One cannot label someone as a Mahatma. Who is actually a Mahatma is described in Bhagavad Gita. That who qualifies to be a Mahatma. So Krishna says that Mahatma nastu mam partha. So he's saying, Arjuna, you are a Mahatma. Why? Because you are Devim Prakriti Mashuka. You are under the shelter of my divine nature. Before this, Krishna has spoken about which nature? Right? Which? Rakshasim Ashwarim Cheva Prakriti Mohini Shita. In the last verse, Krishna spoke about the Mohinim Prakriti. Mohinim Prakriti is bewildering nature. What is that bewildering nature? Maya. It bewilders everyone. Everyone is bewildered. What is the biggest bewilderment by Maya? We consider what we are not. Everyone thinks he is this body, when he is not this body. What's your name? Right. Oh yes, Divyansh. Divyansh, what is, you have this hand? Whose hand is this? What do you say? Your hand. Huh? This feet is yours. Your hand. Do you say I hand? You say I leg? You say I head? What does it mean?
He said my.
Why? I'm asking why. Why? Just think. What it means when you say it is my hand, my leg, my head, that means your head and you are different. Isn't it? So where are you? This is the bewilderment. That means the owner of the hand, the owner of the leg, and the owner of the head is someone else. And who is that person?
God.
No. That is the soul. That is the soul. And where is the soul? Invisible. Invisible. So what we say? Out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. But no. So this is what vision Krishna is giving. So these divine admirers, those who accept the authority of Lord Krishna, they are under the shelter of the divine nature. There are two types of nature, as I said. One is divine and the other is demonic. That is of the individual. And also in the creation, there are two types of energies or natures. One is called the external energy, which is called the Bahiranga Shakti, or it is called the Maya Shakti, which is the bewildering potency. And the other is the Devim Prakriti. Devim Prakriti means the spiritual nature. And Srimati Radharani is the embodiment. She is the personification of this divine nature. So as you see, I'll give you another example to understand. Like you have the education department from the government, and you also have the police department from the government, isn't it? But you just please focus on hearing. So you have both the departments which are run by the government. These are both energies of the government. So what the education department does, it gives training and education so that one can become, skilled or enabled to have his livelihood. And what the criminal department does, or the police department does, it punishes and puts people in jail. So it depends on the individual, whether he wants to be in the university or whether he wants to be into the jail. Is the government partial by creating the police department and by creating the education department? Can we say that the government is partial? Who will be where? Who decides? The individual decides. His action decides. According to the performance of his actions, he will be under the agency. If he wants to study, he can be in the university. And if he breaks the law, he will be behind the bar. So Krishna is talking about those who are divine. So those who are divine, the first and the foremost qualification is that they are under the divine spiritual nature of the God. They are not under the influence of the material nature. Material nature always bewilders the living entity and keeps the living entity away from Krishna. It works in a very distinct way. It has two features. One is called the Avarana Atmika, that it covers the living entity's real identity, like all of us. We are not aware of what our identity is. We are having a real identity crisis. We think I am this body. The body is still. Divyan's body is now what it is. You are how many years? 6, 7, 5, 8. Acha, you are 8. But after 10 years, this body will not be there. Body will grow. It will expand. And when you even grow more, the body will again change. But you will remain Divyansh. Or some people connect here, just here. Some people connect themselves to the platform of mental. They consider what their mind dictates. But mind is very fickle. It keeps changing. The thoughts, the ideas, the passion keeps changing. Or one can intellectually consider himself to what he is according to his post, to his gains. And if he does not change, ultimately he has to retire. That position will be taken. One cannot retain it. So all the identification that we have, or one may have identification with his family members or relation, or maybe with his village or place of land from where he is born. So all of it is subject to change. So that is the Avaranatmika Shakti, the covering potency. What it covers the real identity of the living entity. It will never be able to know who he is. So we are all born in the darkness of ignorance, and we live and we leave us, not knowing who he is. And when the person leaves, then we are crying that he has left us. Who has left you? Whom you know is lying besides you, and then you will not retain him in your house. Once a person is dead, then you will not retain him in the house. Will you retain him? The wife will not sleep with the husband who is dead. Will she sleep? No. She wants to see that the funeral should be done. Or the husband with the wife. And whatever relationship you had with the body, the body is there. So this is the Avarnatmika Shakti, the covering potency. It covers the real identity of the living entity. And second is Prakshepat. Prakshep means it kicks. When the real identity is covered, then whatever the living entity does, whatever is the outcome, is that he is only frustrated. He gets kicks. From where? From his actions and the reaction of his action, which is called karma. And so again and again he is kicked by the material nature. So he cannot get any relief. So that is why this material world is called Dukhaliyama Shashvata. It is a perpetual place of suffering. So those who are under like the person who is under the jurisdiction of the police department. So he is given different types of punishments. So those who are rebellious, those who are demoniac, their care is taken by the material nature, which is the Mohini Prakriti. What is the Moha? Moha means illusion. So the living entity is always in illusion. Because he's in illusion, he's always bewildered. And whatever he does, the result is only it is baffling or it is frustration. On the other hand, those who are Mahatmas, those who are admirers of the Supreme Lord, those who are following his authority, they are under the shelter of Krishna's spiritual potency. Srimati Radha. This is the first qualification, the first difference. Like I explained, those who are under the health department or education department, so they are protected, they are cared by the government. And those who are under the police department, they are punished by the government. This is the first and foremost qualification, that they are under the different natures. According to our acceptance of the authority of the Supreme Lord, we will be placed under different natures. One will be under the supreme spiritual nature, and the other will be under the illusionary nature. So this is the internal part, the internal disposition of the person. And who will be under the spiritual potency? Everyone will think, I have become devotee. I accept the authority of the Supreme Lord. So now I am under the spiritual potency. No. Second line gives the qualification. That who is actually under the spiritual potency. How do we know that the person is under the spiritual potency? By his activities. Very important, Bhagavad Gita gives emphasis on one's action, not on one's birth. One does not become qualified just by being born. Like if you have to get your surgery done, you will go to a doctor who is qualified, who has passed the examinations, and he has practiced and he has been accredited. Will you accept a doctor whose mother and father is a doctor, so he is a doctor? Will you allow yourself to be treated by him? No. So Krishna says that it is based on one's action and one's on nature. So what is the activity of a person? How to identify a person who is under the spiritual nature? So many people who are pseudo spiritualist, they pose themselves to be spiritualist. But are they spiritualist? Where is the test? Bhagavad Gita is giving the test. Who is actually under the spiritual nature? Bhajanti ananya manasa. So the person who is under the spiritual potency, who is under the Devim Prakriti, what is his activity? He is always performing bhajan. Bhajan means to serve the Supreme. To be engaged in his selfless service. And what kind of bhajan? Ananya manasa. Anya means others. Without any other aspiration. So we see, even when we begin the path of devotion, our heart is filled with so many other aspirations. We have a small aspiration for devotion also. But the aspiration for material gain is much more. So that is not Ananya Manasa. That is Anya. That is others. But he is without any other fruitive aspirations. His only aspiration is to serve and please the God. And his mind does not deviate or distract. So that is very important. So with single pointed focus and with single pointed attention, he is with all his actions performing just to please the Supreme. That is completely selfless. He has no other aspirations than this activity, that is action, which is called devotional service. But how he performs the devotional service? Based on knowledge. That is the second part. Gyatva. Gyatva means he is situated in knowledge. What is that knowledge? Gyatva bhutadi mavyayam. That he is fully convinced that how Krishna is the source. He is the origin. Adi means the origin. Who is the Krishna is the origin of everyone and everything. Even from Lord Brahma. Bhut Adi is Brahmaji. Where is the beginning of the creation? From Lord Brahma. And Krishna is inexhaustible. Everyone else in this material world is exhaustible. This material body is exhaustible. It takes birth, it grows, it stays for some time, it reproduces, it starts to dwindle, and finally it perishes. So one who is both aspects are important. One who is in complete knowledge, that is called Krishna consciousness. Yatva Bhutadi Mavya. And what he does is devotional service. Bhajanti Ananya Manasa. And what is that? 24 hours. Without any interruption or without any interval. So such persons Krishna is calling as Mahatma. Not anyone and everyone can be. So you cannot label anyone and everyone as Mahatma. Mahatma, the qualification is that first he has to be under the spiritual potency. And who will receive spiritual potency shelter? One who is Bhajanti Ananya Mansa, show of devotional service. And we are absorbed in our own areas. And he is why? Who can be engaged in devotional service? Who is Gyatva Bhutadi Mavyaya. Who knows that how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the foundation. He is the origin of everyone and everything. So in our cultivation of this knowledge, what we are trying to do? We are trying to do both. We are trying to understand how Krishna is Bhutadi Avyaya. That how is the source, how is the origin, how is the fountainhead of everyone and everything. How to be able to see the hand of the Supreme Lord in the entire creation. That is called knowledge. And one who is situated in knowledge, he will naturally be inclined to perform devotional service. Okay, you got it understood? So such a person Krishna is calling as Mahatma. These are actual admirers. But in the world, you will hardly get such admirers. What you will get? You will get pseudo admirers. So they are not actually under the Devi Prabhupada. They are under the Moni Prabhupada. And one day they will be exposed. One day they will be exposed. They cannot cover for long. So now let us see the translation. O son of Partha, those who are not deluded. This is the very important aspect. Those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of my divine nature. So Krishna gives assurance in Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. So Krishna says, O son of Partha, those who are not devoted, Arjuna, because Arjuna became a little scared when he heard Mokasha, Mokarna, Anantin Bambra. Do I come? So Krishna is telling you, you're not in that category. You are in a different category. Huh? Audio is not working. No, I am unmuted. When the internet is not stable, what will I do? There is a mobile phone, I said. I have my mobile phone. who are sometimes engaged, they have to wait. They have to qualify to come to the state. And how they engage, fully engage in devotional service? Because they know we are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Israel and King. In this verse, the description of the Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. Everyone else in this material world is controlled by the three modes of the material nature. He is in material existence, and what he performs is grinds him again and again to remain in this material world. So he is not under the control of material nature. So he is under the control of the spiritual nature. I'll give one more example. Like we are in the land of India. It is governed by the Indian laws, rules, and regulations. But if you go to the American embassy in India, India's laws will not work. India police cannot enter. They cannot arrest anyone. Why? Because the laws of America is working. Although that is not in America. Where are they? They are in India. Just here. Just here.
In case of war,
In case of?
in case of war, what would happen to the embassy?
Case of war, stable. Nothing changes. Hear what I am trying to say. Although they are here within our country, but our laws are not applicable on that tract of land which they have declared as American embassy or any other embassy. Similarly, although a devotee who is Bhajanti Ananya Manasa and Gyatva Bhudate Mavya, a Mahatma devotee, although in this material world, the material laws are not applicable. He is above. Why? Because the spiritual nature has given him protection. So Prabhupada says he is not under the control of material nature. And how is this affected? This is explained in the 7th chapter. Krishna has already spoken that Devi Esha Gudmai Mamaya Duratya. Just see the 7th chapter. What is the verse? Verse number is 14. 7th chapter. 14th verse. Krishna has already declared that this divine energy of mind consisting of three modes of material nature. There also Krishna is saying divine. Here also Krishna is saying divine. But what is the difference? That one is taking care of those who are demoniac, and the other is actually for those who are divine. I'll give you one more example. Like you see electricity. Right now we are using the electricity to have AC on. What is it giving? Cool. And in winter we will use the same electricity to give us heating. Heater. So the energy is the same, but it depends on the expert utilization of the person, how he handles. So the same energy will work as illusionary energy for those who are demoniac. And the so two aspects. That first, he is not under the control of the material nature. Okay, leave it. One who surrenders, and how this change happens, how one becomes a Mahatma by the process of surrender. It is automatic. Automatic. One who knows that Krishna is supreme, he will automatically serve Krishna. And what is the service? Service is a reflection of one's surrender. If it is service at all. As I said, when devotion enters into action, it becomes seva. It becomes service. Then there is no other consideration. There is no consideration for any gain or reward. What is the gain reward? It's the service itself. That is the highest honor. That he has the opportunity to serve. One can become free from the control of, this is the qualifications. Rupa says, one becomes free from the control of, one who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and becomes freed from the control of nature. In the final conclusion, Krishna will again emphatically declare that aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami masucha, that I will abandon you from all reactions. One can become, this is the qualification. One can become free from the control of material nature as soon as he surrenders his soul to the Supreme Personality of God. What he has to surrender? He has to surrender his heart, his soul. Not many times, you know how we begin? Many times we go to the rich people and we call them to come to the temple. And they say, yeah, we will come, but they never come. This time in Janmashtami, we had such a big turnout, such a big, huge turnout. It was much more than what we expected. And so many people came. But normally those who are under the illusionary energy, it's very difficult for them to come. Very, very difficult. So what they do, they don't want to come. They want to say, okay, you take some donations from us. But here, the qualification is that one must surrender his soul. It is easy to give possessions. It is easy to give one's belongings. But it is very difficult to give the self. So Krishna is not asking possessions. That is external. What Krishna is wanting? Krishna is wanting the surrender of the heart, the soul. What is surrender? Surrender is nothing else but love. Who will surrender to Krishna? Who is in love with Krishna? Who is not envious to Krishna? One who has envy, how can he surrender? He will only argue. He will only resist. He will only refute. Like in any relationship. The mother does not have to ask the child, will you eat? Or does she need to ask the child, will you eat? If she will cook, the child will eat. So similarly, it is natural for the living entity to love and serve the Lord. But it is because of the illusionary energy whose influence is that we have a wrong identification. And what we are thinking, what we will act will make us happy. So the jiva is completely bewildered. So here, the primary formula is, Prabhupada says, that is the primary formula. Being marginal potency, as soon as the living entity is freed from the control of material nature, he is put under the guidance of spiritual nature. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Devi Prakriti, divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of great soul Mahatma. That Mahatma means one who is completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who is Bhajanti Ananya Manasa. One who is 24 hours engaged in devotional service. Not otherwise. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna. Because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original supreme, the cause of all causes. There is no doubt about it. Gyatva bhutadim avyayam. Such a Mahatma or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas. Now the point is that now we have known that Krishna gives the protection of the spiritual nature to those who are Mahatmas. So how to become a Mahatma? That is the most important aspect. We are not a Mahatma. Krishna says that there are two types of people. One is the Mahatma and the other is Duratma. But the journey in Krishna consciousness is from Duratma, how we can come to the stage of becoming a Mahatma. So Prabhupada gives the key here. He gives the secret. He reveals the secret. He says that how one becomes a Mahatma, not by a rubber stamp. No one can, say that the other person is a Mahatma. How one becomes Mahatma, Prabhupada is saying here that such a Mahatma or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas, pure devotees. If one comes in association with Mahatma, then there is possibility of even those who are Duratmas, they can become Mahatma. How? By following. By following them. If one really follows. Or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas, pure devotees. And I'll give you, we have seen, I've seen in my life experience also, so many transformations happening. And how this happens is through association. Association is not just physical association. Association is of the heart. I'll give you one example. When our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, you don't have the calendar here today? Where's the calendar? Here. You see the photograph of our founder Acharya Prabhupada? He was very elderly. A retired age. At almost 70, he traveled from Vrindavan to New York. And unknown. No one was known. And he started his first center in 1966 in New York. And in 1967, he opened the second center in San Francisco, which is in California. So from New York, he went to San Francisco. And Prabhupada used to perform kirtan, bhajan. Krishna is saying, Mahatma is one who performs bhajan. So at that time, there was a very revolutionary phase in American society. The Vietnam War had just happened, and the mass of men were against the government participating in the Vietnam War. It will happen again, what Trump is doing. The mass of the Americans will turn against them, against him. So anyway, the young generation was completely giving up the conventions. They were called hippies. They were having the counterculture. They gave away the society norms, and they were more into drug addiction, hallucination. So Prabhupada went in California, in San Francisco, he opened the next center, and Prabhupada performed a mantra. You want water? Take here, Haribol. Devyaj, here, na? If you want water, it is here. So one of the counterculture was called the Morning Ranch or something, Star Morning Ranch. And it was a big rock star who was having it. So they invited Prabhupada to come to their farm. Their farm was, a little far from the city, where there were redwood forest. You know redwood trees? Any one of you know redwood trees? And it stays long and it grows very tall. It goes to 100 meters. And it has very unique nature. Although it goes so tall, but its roots are not so deep. You know how it sustains itself? By taking the association of the other tree. He's talking about associations. I'm connecting. So in that redwood forest, this commune was there. Young boys and girls. Those who had completely rejected the norms of the American society. And they prefer to be in a surrounding which is completely natural, away from the city life, the concrete life. And they wanted to be as close as nature. There was no electricity there, and it was so much, obsessed that even they were without clothes. All of them used to stay naked. And somehow Prabhupada was invited there. Why they were invited? Because where we had the temple in San Francisco, so these society people, they had a shop. Just, in the neighborhood. And many times they would come and offer bananas. Free of cost. To be offered to the Lord. But they had a, condition that whatever will be the banana piece, they want it back. Offer the bananas to the Lord and to the devotees, but give us the peels back. So fine, devotees were accepting it and returning to them. So these, so-called nature lovers, So they called Prabhupada once that kindly Swamiji come and bless us also, our commune. So Prabhupada went, it was far away. So he reached there at what? So when Prabhupada entered the farm, he saw a man digging. And he was, as I said, without clothes. So Prabhupada asked him that what are you doing? And he said that I am digging potatoes. Prabhupada asked him, what are you doing in your human form of life? For which he had no answer. So anyway, so Prabhupada could view that these people are, even they have lost the discrimination that they need to cover their bodies. So Prabhupada just performed kirtan there. He did not give any lecture because he could see that there was no point in speaking philosophy to these people. They were almost on the platform of being an animal. Animal, does it have any discrimination to cover the body parts? It moves naked. So these people were very much on drugs and sex. So Prabhupada performed kirtan. And most of these inmates there, they all heard Prabhupada perform kirtan. And Prabhupada, after performing kirtan, he left. But he told those organizers that my request is that all of you, when you assemble, you perform this Hare Krishna Mahamantra Kirtan. And this Kirtan inspired them so much that after Prabhupada left, they continued Kirtan. And from that group, at least 10 full-time devotees and sannyasis came. They transformed to such extent. Who came from there? Tamal Krishna Goswami came. The foremost of Srila Prabhupada's sannyas. He was amongst those people. What is this? This is the advantage of having an association with someone who is actually pure. Even a short duration, it says, Tulyam Lavanapi. That even if you get the opportunity to associate with a pure devotee, even for lava is 1/9 of a second. Tulyam Lavanapi, na swargam na punarbhava. So one can kick off the proposal to go to the heavenly planets. Na swargam, na punarbhavam, even if you get even liberation. Why? Because Bhagavad Bhakti Sangasya, if you get the association of a Bhagavad Bhakta, who is actually a devotee of the Lord, Martya Nam Kim Uta Ashishaha, that what can be the greatest benediction? So Mahatma develops, so many Mahatmas we have now in our societies. But if we see their background, from where to where they have transformed, by the association of just one personality. He went all alone. Why? Because he had this Gyatva Bhuta Adimavya. He was fully convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. Krishna is the controller. No one else is the controller. Prabhupada traveled all over the world 14 times at the age of 70, from 1965 till 1977. So from the age of 70 till the age of 82, 14 times he encircled the globe. And many times he would enter the countries without visa. And Prabhupada would say, no one can stop me. Because this creation is of Krishna. But we cannot do that. If we go there, the police will put us in jail. Because we are not Gyatva Bhudadima. Yeah, we don't have that conviction. Don't have that clarity. We don't have that surrender. So a Mahatma develops through the association of Mahatma. So very important is what is association. A rat may be there in the room and somewhere hiding. So does it also having the advantage of association? Will it also transform? Yes or no? No. One may be having the closest of physical association, but he will not transform. Why? Because he is not accepting it in his heart and not following. Here, Prabhupada is saying that one who is actually following, then the transformation is imperative. It is obvious, it will happen. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna. That is bhajanti ananya manas. His attention is not, he is never distracted. He is neither diverted, nor this is the age, today is the age of distractions. If you ask students, can they have focus to their studies? Very difficult, almost impossible. Every minute they are distracted. Every moment we are distracted. Because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original supreme person, the cause of all. They're very important. So this conviction comes from knowledge. That is why studying this knowledge. If we have this knowledge in our heart, we have the realization, then there is no reason that we will be diverted or distraction. Such a Mahatma gets, so okay, we have built this. With other Mahatmas, pure devotees. Pure devotees are not even attracted by Krishna's other features, such as four-armed Mahavishnu. And we see that in the life of the Brajvasis. When Krishna was performing Ras Rats, he disappeared from the gopis. And he was only with Srimati Radharani. And later he even disappeared from Srimati Radharani. And then the gopis became, so much in pain of separation of Krishna, and they were searching Krishna. And what Krishna did? He transformed himself into 400 form of Vishnu. Then he appeared. But the gopis, as soon as they saw the form of Lord Vishnu, they all bowed down, paid their obeisances, and requested Lord Vishnu that please tell us where is Krishna, how we can find Krishna. This is called Ananya Manasa. So, complete absorption in Krishna's form, not diverted or distracted by anyone else. They meditate, okay, they are not attracted or other features of Krishna, nor are they concerned with any form of demigod or of any human being. They meditate only upon Krishna in Krishna consciousness. This is very important. This is the crux of it. Is they are in Krishna consciousness means they are always in connection with Krishna. How they are in connection with Krishna? With their knowledge and realization. A person with an ignorance cannot be in connection with Krishna. However, sentimentally he may show, but the connection will not be there. Like one may flash the best of the iPhones, 16, 17, whatever. But if he does not have a SIM card, can he connect? He cannot connect. It is useless. So the connection is the same. And what is that same? Is knowledge. Again and again, you see Bhagavad Gita, wherever we study Bhagavad Gita, that is why Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, to give this knowledge and to remove ignorance from our hearts. But how many are willing to hear? Festival was there, more than 200, 300 people came for Prasad. To hear Bhagavad Gita, not even 30 are present. Why? Because they are wanting to remain under the illusionary energy. They don't want to transform or convert from the illusory energy to the spiritual energy. So they meditate only upon Krishna and Krishna consciousness. That is knowledge. And they are always engaged in unserving service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. That is their action. So action is based on one's knowledge. So such a person is Mahatma. What is the time? It is 8:48. I don't want to take the second verse today because this verse is also very sweet verse, very important verse, the 14th verse. If you have some questions, they are welcome. I'll take this verse next time. It says that This is the internal disposition of who is a Mahatma. And what is the external manifestation of the Mahatma that Krishna will speak in the next verse. Divyansh always has questions. Okay, give him the mic. Yeah. This is, we have discussed that today. I hope you were hearing. What is the qualification of a Mahatma? Okay, very good. He is allowing us to review and recap the class again. What is your understanding? Who is a Mahatma? What is the definition? Who will decide what is good and what is bad? Krishna has given the qualification here. You did not hear. You should hear with attention. Okay, let your brother try.
The actions.
Huh?
The actions will give clarity on good and bad.
Oh, no, what is that action?
We perform day to day. That we perform day to day.
No. How do we know that the Mahatma by his action? What action the Mahatma performs? You mentioned in the books that we discussed. Yeah.
Krishna Bhakti or full devotional service to specifically Lord.
He has to perform unmotivated devotional service. Everyone has some motivation. If we perform an action, that action is performed by some desire in heart or with some expectation. So that is called sakam. But bhakti is nishkam. Unless and until one is selfless, he is not on the platform of bhakti. Then he is on the platform of bhoga. Bhoga means to enjoy. So unless and until one is at this level, where he is bhajanti ananya manasa, without any expectation of any other reward or recognition, even recognition. He is engaged in selfless, unmotivated devotional service, only to please the Lord. Such a person can be a Mahatma. Srila Prabhupada, wait here. Srila Prabhupada, after India became independent, Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to Mahatma Gandhi. He said that you are the most popular person in the entire country. And you are such a big propounder of Bhagavad Gita. You always keep Bhagavad Gita. So now you should retire from politics. India is already independent. And now we should focus. Prabhupada said, join hands with us. I want to join with you and we will propagate Bhagavad Gita. Now there should not be any political ambition because you have already achieved. India is independent. But now India needs spiritual guidance. And you are the best person to give spiritual guidance by guiding them to accept the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada wrote a long letter. But unfortunately, it never happened. In that letter, Prabhupada even warned that if you do not do that, then you will lose the opportunity. Mahatma Gandhi did not do that, but Prabhupada did it. And he spread the message of Bhagavad Gita all around the world, single-handedly, without support of anyone. Why? Because he is knowing that Krishna is Gyatva Mam Bhuta Adimam. That Krishna is the source, the foundation, the origin, the controller of everyone and everything. So actually being who is a Mahatma, Bhagavad Gita is giving the qualification. And if you happen to come in association with such a Mahatma, then your life is glorious. Hare Krishna. You have to first learn to hear. Hearing is also a skill. Not a skill of, a skill, an attribute of any acumen. It is the purity of the heart. To be able to enter the spiritual message which can enter into the heart. Most of the time it is deflected from surface. It does not enter. That penetration is not there. Hare Krishna. Online viewers can also ask questions, those who are hearing. Most of you are study practitioners. This is the central verse of Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna is assuring Arjuna that you will not be bewildered. Why? Because Arjuna is fighting only to please Krishna. Arjuna does not want to fight. He says, what to speak of this kingdom? Even if you give me the heavenly kingdom, I am not inclined to fight. I have no aspiration for material gains. Okay, then I end here. I don't see any inquisitiveness coming further unless and until you ask. This topic will not go further deeper. It depends on the hearers also, how much they are in the mood of inquiring or getting into the topic. Then only we can go deeper. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the Assembly devotees. Hare Krishna.